Hi, I'm Natalie.
And I'm Miguel. Welcome to our channel. We are brother and sister, taking you on short guided tours around villages, towns and cities in Malaga, in the south of Spain.
In our previous video, we took you around some of Malaga's emblematic sites. And because there is plenty to see in the city of Malaga, we've decided to split the content into two videos, this one being the second one.
If you would like to see the first video on Malaga that we streamed last week, make sure to click on the link below or on the link at the end of this video.
Now, without further ado, let touring around Malaga round 2 begin.
Let's go!
In our previous video, we told you about the history of Malaga regarding its foundation and the civilizations that once lived in this territory. Today, we'll be covering another period of Malaga's history, starting off by giving you the names of 3 influential men that were involved in the development and industrialization of the city of Malaga in the 19th century. These were Manuel Agustín de Heredia, involved in many business ventures, especially in ironworks. He became the most important merchant of the city. Jorge Enrique Loring, an engineer, businessman and politician. Don Manuel Domingo Larios, involved primarily in the development of the textile and sugar sectors. A great contribution from him and his family to Malaga was the Calle Larios. Having said this,
connecting with a network of attractive side streets, Calle Marques de Larios, also known as Calle Larios, is the cornerstone of the historic centre of Malaga. The connection of the street with the Larios family dates back to 1887, when the family made an economic contribution in the remodelling of the street. It was inaugurated in 1891, and since 2002 it has been a pedestrian street which hosts some of the main celebrations of the city. It is a street where not only you can admire the 19th century architecture as you stroll along, but it is also where you will come across many fashion shops, ice cream shops, typical bars and restaurants, sculptures, and different street artists. At the top end of Calle Larios, and located at the heart of the historic centre of Malaga, the Plaza de la Constitucion offers a large urban space which becomes the protagonist of Malaga's daily life and of some of the most important events in the city. Situated on one of its sides, you will come across the Puente de Génova, a Renaissance-style fountain made out of marble. Malaga's cathedral's full name is Nuestra Señora de la Encarnación. Its foundations were laid around 1530 and the work ended in the 17th century. The cathedral is also known as La Manquita, the One-Armed Lady, and that is because the south tower on its main facade is unfinished due to lack of funds. The facade was built in a Baroque style, whilst the rest of the cathedral was built in the Renaissance architectural tradition. According to our sources, it is considered to be the second highest cathedral in Andalusia. Right in front of Malaga's cathedral main facade, you will find La Plaza del Obispo, a square surrounded by different buildings, being one of them the Palacio Episcopal, as well as different restaurants, offering the visitor a great spot to sit whilst being able to contemplate the impressive Baroque-style main facade of the cathedral and the beautiful Baroque Episcopal Palace's portal. Also, in the middle of the square you will find a stone fountain, which was used to supply water to nearby residents.
For anyone who didn't know, the one and only Pablo Picasso, pioneer of the Cubism movement, was born in Malaga, back in 1881. Due to this fact, it was only fitting that the city would have a museum dedicated to him. The museum, accessed via Calle San Agustin, is housed in the Palacio de Buenavista, an old Spanish civil building from the 16th century. The building mixes different architectural styles, such as Renaissance, Plateresque and Mudéjar. At the Museo Picasso you will be able to see a wide variety of Picasso's artistical work, as well as temporary exhibitions of different artists. One of the oldest streets and one of the most important ones from the old city's layout is Calle Granada, named like this for having been the way out from Malaga to Granada, back in the reconquest of the city in 1487 by the Catholic King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella. In the time of the Moors, this street used to run through the big Nazareth house palaces, later transformed into ecclesiastical buildings. Connecting Plaza de la Constitucion on the east with Plaza de la Merced on the west, Calle Granada has undergone numerous transformations throughout the centuries. Today, this busy street is flooded with many restaurants and shops, bringing life and a great atmosphere to this part of the city. At the end of Calle Granada, just before you arrive at the Plaza de la Merced, you will come across the oldest church in Malaga, founded by King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella in 1490, the Iglesia de Santiago. It was built upon the ruins of an old mosque. The architectural style of the building which stands out is the Mudéjar style. It has a square tower, also Mudéjar style, which was designed as a separate minaret and attached in the 16th century. The church houses several artistic treasures. And in 1881, the church witnessed the christening of our already mentioned Pablo Picasso. But he wasn't just christened as Pablo Picasso, oh no, his full name was Pablo Diego José Francisco de Paula Juan Nepomuceno María de los Remedios Cipriano de la Santísima Trinidad Ruiz y Picasso. Just imagine being called out at school with that name. As we continue to the top end of Calle Granada, we arrive at the Plaza de la Merced, one of the main squares in the city of Malaga. It was built after the reconquest of the city, and in the beginning it was used to host a market. At first, in the 16th century, it was known as the Plaza del Mercado. During the 19th century, the square was used by the middle class as a place of amusement. Its central obelisk of neoclassical style was erected by the town hall in 1842, in memory of the liberal general Torrijos. Today, the square is known as the Plaza de la Merced, still maintaining its 19th century look. The square is beautifully decorated with jacaranda trees that, when in full bloom, make the square a picture-perfect setting. Surrounded by several buildings with numerous restaurants, it's a great place to enjoy a nice meal, Spanish tapas, a drink, or a good café con leche. Back to the Plaza de la Merced, In the north corner of the square, you can visit the Casa Natal of Picasso, the house in which Picasso gave his first steps. You will be able to see some of his personal and family belongings, as well as a small collection of his works of art.
The Teatro Miguel de Cervantes was built in 1870, after a fire destroyed the previous Teatro del Príncipe Alfonso or Teatro de la Merced. With time, the theatre was abandoned, but later, in 1984, the City Council of Malaga bought the building and financed the works for its reconstruction, bringing it back to life in 1987. Currently, the Theatre of Malaga hosts all kinds of events, such as dramatic theatrical performances, comedies, operas, ballets, jazz, flamenco, rock, musical and galas of all kinds.
Moving on to another artistic quarter, there's Malaga's Soho, found between the Alameda Principal and Avenida Heredia. Once an important middle-class neighbourhood with some great 19th and 20th century buildings, it was becoming very run down in the late 20th century. For this reason, a project came about at the beginning of the millennium, known as MOUSE, that has invested in the district and has promoted it as a cultural zone, using the many walls of the buildings in Soho as canvases. Walking through Soho, it's as if you're in an open-air museum, with many accomplished and expressive works of art of national and international artists. Just outside the Soho neighbourhood, next to the Rio Guadalmedina, is the CAC, which displays contemporary and modern art from the last third of the 20th century until now by established and emerging artists. The CAC offers diverse activities and reflects on contemporary art, its sources and its influences. It's a place that invites the visitor to participate and learn. It not only houses the works of Malagueñan artists, but it has gained a place of importance in the European circle with international names. If you follow the river up, you will end up coming to the Puente de Santo Domingo, also known as the Puente de los Alemanes, due to it having been a gift from the Germans to the city of Malaga, honouring their heroic help during a German shipwreckage near the port. This story took place back in December of 1900, granting Malaga the title of Very Hospitable, which today is part of the city's coat of arms.
Before 1831, the death of a non-Roman Catholic in Spain was rather problematic, as no provision was made for their burial. With that said, in Malaga, non-Catholics could only be buried at night, on the beach and in an upright position, left at the mercy of the waves and of the prowling dogs. It was William Marques, who became British consul in 1824, who sought a site for a decent Protestant burial place, receiving a piece of land by Malaga's authorities in 1829. The cemetery is designed as a botanical garden arranged on terraces that are facing the sea. It contains exotic species which have grown at their own pace, sepulchral monuments, tombs with classical, neo-Gothic and modernist elements, and the Chapel of St. George, a Doric tetrastyle chapel. The Ayuntamiento de Málaga opened to the public in 1919. It was built on gained land from the sea after the construction of the Parque de Málaga. It is a neo-Baroque style building with a rectangular floor plan and entrances on each facade. The portal's corners are richly decorated with protruding towers, where the motif is repeated on the remaining facades. The entrance portico is topped by a clock located over a pediment, in which the central figure represents a matron, the symbol of the city, surrounded by figures alluding to architecture, fishing, and trade. Right by the city council, you will find the Jardines Pedro Luis Alonso. These Latin-style gardens cover an area of 6,500 square meters. They hold Hispanic, Muslim and French features, such as low hedges to provide colour and symmetry, orange trees for shade, colour and aroma, and ponds with spouting water which provide a cooling sensation. Within the garden, a feature worth noting is the rose garden with numerous varieties from around the world. It can be said that this is a great spot to sit on one of its many benches where you can relax whilst enjoying the aroma from its varied rose garden.
The Alameda Principal is an important avenue of the city of Malaga. It was the centre of Malaga's social life before the inauguration of Calle Larios. The avenue received its name from the alamo trees that once stood there. Now, the predominant trees since the end of the 19th century are the ficus trees. Since 2018, the avenue has undergone a major reformation, giving it an ample space for you to stroll under the shade of the trees. As a place to take a break from touring around Malaga, why not visit the oldest bodega and pub, La Antigua Casa de Guardia? Founded in 1840 by Don José de Guardia, who received the title of Provider of the House of Her Majesty's Queen Elizabeth II, title which the place still holds and is reflected on its own splendid moscatel, Isabel II. The business moved from hand to hand and from one family to another. It has known good times and not so good ones, but today it's an emblematic place to visit on the main avenue of the city, where to enjoy some original Malagueñan wine. Well, we've come to the end of our second video about Malaga. We thank you for watching, we hope that you've enjoyed it, and if so, please give us a thumbs up, share and subscribe. And until next time, take care!
¡Hasta luego!